You know, whenever we talk about great actors, the first thing that always comes up is range, right? But what if that range gets so big, so all over the place, that it stops being just a good thing? What if it actually starts to, well, destabilize everything? For one actor, that's not just a hypothetical question. It's kind of the whole point of his career.
Yeah, I'm talking about Jake Gyllenhaal. And for him, this question is pretty much the key to unlocking his entire filmography. I mean, think about it. There's no single Jake Gyllenhaal type, is there? There's no persona you can just latch onto. He flips from sincere to scary, from vulnerable to controlling, and honestly, he seems to have zero interest in making it an easy or comfortable ride for us, the audience.
See, when an actor just completely vanishes into a role over and over again, we kind of lose our footing, right? We lose that safety net. And it really feels like Gyllenhaal has built his entire career on yanking that net away from us. If you actually look at his movies in order, you start to see this wild pattern. It's like he's constantly testing us, seeing how many different people he can become before the name Jake Gyllenhaal just stops meaning anything specific.
Okay, so to really get how far he's pushed things, we've got to go back. We need to find his starting point. You know, that baseline performance that everything else is a deliberate reaction to.
And here it is. This is the absolute cleanest starting point you could ask for. In October Sky, he plays Homer Hickam, and it's just pure, uncut earnestness. He's hopeful, he's open, he's totally transparent emotionally. It's like he's wearing his heart on his sleeve. This is what Jake Gyllenhaal looks like with no tricks, no walls up, which is exactly why the rest of his career feels like he's systematically tearing this version of himself down.
And believe me, he doesn't waste any time starting that demolition. Just 2 years later, we get Donnie Darko, and wow, this is the first time his range stops being impressive and starts being genuinely unsettling. He takes that open, transparent kid from October Sky and just shatters him. In his place, we get this emotional volatility that would pretty much become his calling card. As Donnie, he's constantly swinging between being this super intelligent, insightful kid and being completely alienated and full of contempt. And he never ever lets you know for sure, is this guy enlightened or is he delusional? And that's the point. He weaponizes that discomfort. His pauses are just a little too long. The way he stands still just feels wrong. This is really the first time he just straight up refuses to give us, the audience, anything solid to hold on. So, that early break from the norm, it leads him right into this whole new phase of his career. This is where he fully dives into playing these really difficult, often pretty unlikable guys who are just crumbling under extreme stress. He basically becomes a specialist in making us feel uncomfortable and showing us what obsession looks like. Take Jarhead, for instance. His character, Anthony Swafford, is just a walking pressure cooker. This is not some hero driven by patriotism. No, he's driven by ego, by this deep fear of being useless. He's trained to be a killer, a sniper, but then he's never given the chance to actually do his job. Gyllenhaal just nails that simmering frustration. It's a perfect picture of how a person's identity can just rot from the inside out when all that stress has nowhere to go.
Then you see that intensity get twisted into something different in Prisoners. As Detective Loki, he's a guy who has completely merged his identity with his job. But where Jarhead was all about explosive frustration, Loki is all about containment. His obsession is about keeping a lid on everything. And you can see it in all the little details of his performance. That constant blinking, the tight jaw. It's like you're watching someone use every ounce of their energy just to keep something truly dangerous from spilling out.
And then we get the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I'm talking about Lou Bloom from Nightcrawler. So if Detective Loki was all about repression, right? About holding something back, well, Lou Bloom is defined by what's not there in the first place.
I mean, first off, he physically transforms, looking all gaunt and predatory. He uses all this corporate speak, this self-help jargon, but it's a weapon. He turns it into a tool for pure manipulation. But the most terrifying thing about him is the emptiness. There's no empathy there to hold back. He's not fighting a monster inside him. There's just nothing. And because there's no internal brake pedal, his ambition just steadily, calmly, and with a smile escalates into pure horror.
So after this whole run of characters who are all about obsession and control, what do you think he does next? Of course, he pivots. He goes in the complete opposite direction, exploring characters who are defined by their total lack of control. Men who are trapped, powerless, and stuck in circumstances way bigger than them. A perfect example is Stronger. He plays Jeff Bauman, a real-life survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing, and the movie is really about the suffocating feeling of being turned into a hero when you don't want to be. His entire performance is just steeped in powerlessness. You feel the physical dependency, the humiliation of needing help for everything, and this really raw resentment of everyone celebrating you for surviving something that completely destroyed your life.
I mean, think about it. After playing all these guys who dominate their worlds, this performance is a total dismantling. He becomes a man whose entire identity has been violently rewritten by trauma and who's just sick of being told he should be grateful for it. For an actor so known for control to be willing to show that level of vulnerability, man, that shows you what his range really costs.
And then he takes this whole concept of being trapped and just pushes it to its absolute logical extreme in The Guilty. Here, he's a demoted 911 dispatcher trying to solve this intense kidnapping, all from his desk. The entire movie, this whole thriller, is trapped right there in his performance. His voice, his face, his body language. That's it. There is literally nowhere else for the story to go.
And what's so brilliant about it is that you get to watch his certainty just completely unravel in real time. He starts out imposing order, you know? His voice is sharp, authoritative. He knows what's going on. But then, as his assumptions get proven wrong one by one, you see that confidence just melt into panic and then into shame, and it's all there in the strain in his voice and the look in his eyes. His whole persona just fractures right in front of us. It's an incredible look at the danger of being so sure you're right.
All right, so where does all this leave us? After all these insane transformations, who even is Jake Gyllenhaal the actor? Well, the answer seems to be, the only consistent thing about him is that there's nothing consistent about him.
When you really look at his career like a timeline, you see this clear path of just erosion. He starts with that open, hopeful baseline back in '99. And from there, every major role he takes is a deliberate move away from anything stable. His career isn't built on finding a type. It's built on fracture, on absence, on dismantling what came before. He forces us to hit the reset button on our expectations every single time.
At the end of the day, I don't think he cares about being recognizable. You can't just project a persona onto him or fall back on what you know. It seems like he's really only interested in one thing: seeing how far he can bend a performance before it shatters our expectations completely. And yeah, that makes his work feel inconsistent at times, for sure, but it also makes it absolutely, thrillingly unpredictable.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. We always say we want actors to disappear into their roles, right? That's the highest praise we can give. But if an actor disappears so completely and so often that there's no stable person left underneath it all, who are we even watching anymore? And maybe, what does that tell us about what performance really is?